Hello, ladies and gentlemen. So I have a companion here. There's some road construction going on outside. So if there's a little bit of background noise, please forgive me. All right. So everyone's been asking me about 5th edition and what it's like and should they switch over? How fun is it? Well, I'll tell you what. It's really fun. I enjoy it. Something you'll hear a lot of people say, it's simple, but simple does not mean dumb. Not dumb at all. It's not a very good word for it because people associate simple with, oh, it's dumb, dumbed down. It's not. Okay. So, I'll just go over some good things about 5th edition. Well, excuse me. Is simplicity. There is a definite focus on story and RPG elements that has not been seen in a while. What I mean by focus on story, you're not having all these various different skills that you put ranks in that turn out to be, oh, well, I'm no good at this, so I'm not even going to try for that, alright? I'm not going to try to be diplomatic about it because I'm not good at diplomacy. It's not like that in 5th edition, but we'll get to that later. So simplicity. Then as far as min-maxing goes, you cannot have a base stat with the point buy system of higher than 15 before your racial modifiers. And in fact, a high-level adventurer will only get to maybe 20 or 21 or so points, whereas gods and the like can become have stats of like in the upper 20s to 30 or something like that. So that's changed, which I think is a good thing because people are too focused on how they build their character stat-wise. All right, DCs. So a difficulty challenge is static, and it's not game breaking at all. It ranges from DC of 5, which is very easy, to DC 30, which is extremely hard. And you know, in Pathfinder and 3.5, you get all these DCs that are ridiculously hard to beat. You know. So I'm glad that that's changed. So proficiencies, instead of how ranks go into your skills, such as in the form, you know, like Pathfinder did, they don't do that. You are now proficient in a certain skill, and that proficiency starts out at a +2 bonus and goes up to a +6 bonus. So, you know, if your whatever is 3, then you have proficiency of +2 at first level, it's 5. So you have a +5 to your, let's say, athletics check, or basically your strength check. And that will go up basically to a +9 at endgame. But you'll likely have a little bit more than that. You know, there might be an item that gives you more. I don't know. I haven't really looked into the magical items of things in this system yet. But, so that's really, really cool. So your class gives you skill proficiency, and your background does too. That's something that they added in 5th edition, is a background, kind of like a job system. If you're a wizard, it might be a good idea to take the acolyte background, you know, get a couple of extra proficiencies here and there, and that also determines your gold and your items and things like that you start out with. Skills, just going over that, kind of, there's no training in the skills in addition because your training is technically your proficiency, but there's no +5. Bye, dog. The dog just left. Alright. So there's no training to get a bonus number. You're not going to have outrageously high saves or anything like that. So that's a lot more simpler, and basically if you're not proficient in it, you're just rolling your strength or your constitution or whatever you're rolling. Alright, spell casting. It's not convoluted like Pathfinders. There's so many if that, then this, happens in Pathfinder. Spell casting in 5th edition is fairly straightforward, and something really cool is there's no penalty for casting in armor, and they completely did away with that. Convoluted charts. In fact, I think the entire base rule set is less than like 40 pages long. So that's really cool. I think it's like 30 or something. So as I was saying, the armor spell penalty failure is gone. In fact, now if your class isn't proficient in that armor, you just can't cast a spell in the armor. And the reasoning they give is pretty realistic. Armor is bulky, and the bulkier it is, the harder it is to move. So you can't be casting a spell and moving around in your gigantic set of armor if you're a wizard, because you're not proficient in that type of armor. So you just can't do it, which I think is very real world, in a fantasy setting, of course, but real world in a fantasy setting. I like that. You could also become. It allows you to be more diverse with your class options. It's like, oh well, I can maybe pick up this feat or something, which brings me to this point. Feats. Well, in 3rd edition, 3.5, and Pathfinder, you kind of had to take this chain of related feats that look like a tree branch or something like that to specialize in something by the time you were like mid-level or so. Dogs being loud, what can I say? But in 5th edition, a single feat lets you be great at something that would have taken you levels and levels of feat to get to at Pathfinder. And the reason for that is the feats are optional. You can either get ability score increase or you can get a feat. But feats are really powerful. So it's kind of a system. Let's see. There we go. Kind of a system of scale, to be honest. So that's the basic gist of 5th edition that's changed the most and that I really enjoy about it. And here's a simple rules comparison. Alright, I'll just read you through two basically identical situations. First up, simple rules comparison with Pathfinder. Corral sees an enemy goblin. He has a movement of, let's say, 20 feet. So, and the goblin is only 10 feet away. So Corral spends his move action to move 10 feet and uses a standard attack with his warhammer. It's a nat 20. Reroll. Reroll is confirmed. Now you double the weapon dice and any modifiers that were in there, plus your magical weapon damage, possibly if you had that, like extra d6 or whatever it was, if it was lightning, I don't know what it would be. Alright, he then notices a goblin ally 10 feet away also taunting him. Corral ends his turn. 5th edition. Corral sees an enemy goblin. He has a movement speed of 20 feet. The goblin is 10 feet away. He moves 10 feet, takes an attack. It's a crit. Double the weapon damage dice and then add the modifier just once. Corral sees this goblin's ally 10 feet away. After he killed the single goblin that he just hit, he resumes his movement and moves to the other goblin. And now he is ready to set up an attack and protect his companions for the next round. End turn. Well, that may not seem like much of a difference. It's just a simple, basic example. Pathfinder is extremely convoluted with all these extra bonuses that you get, such as moving oh, I move 10 feet around, I get +1. He is, you know, this, he's being flanked, so that's additional +2. It's the nighttime when the moon is just the right apex in the sky, so I get a +5, and so on and so forth, you know. In 5th edition, there's no flanking to speak of yet. There might be rules added for it when the Dungeon Master's Guide comes out, but for now, it's basically all just for the GM's sake, you know. If the GM thinks you're at an overwhelming advantage, you can get advantage. Why not, you know? And advantage is you roll 2d20s, take the highest. Or he might make the monster roll 2d20s, take the lowest if he thinks that's a better option for you. Or both. You know, it's up to the GM or the DM, whatever you prefer to be called. So, the system itself is flexible and not at all convoluted, such as Pathfinder. It is fresh, so Wizards of the Coast may or may not introduce some rule-changing books that add some type of complexity, but I don't think they're going to add very many more rules. So, currently, I enjoy this system much better than Pathfinder, and yeah, that's that. But there is something that Pathfinder at the moment, or Paizo, does better than Wizards of the Coast, and that is adventures. Good modules and campaigns to run, but 5th edition is still very fresh. Paizo has that open gamer's license, whatever it is. So I think 5th edition is going to do a similar thing, so third parties can produce content as well, but I don't know. So, but we'll get into that next time if I make another video about this subject. Let me know if you guys like this video and want to hear more about 5th edition or anything else you guys would like to see on my channel. Once again, everyone, thanks for watching and being a subscriber. Alright, take care.